I just took a bite of a spring roll, so I might have stuff in my teeth. Doesn't matter. Anyways, happy Friday, Jerome's. And I understand that 0-2, the best 0-2 team in NFL history, kind of sucks right now, but it is what it is. And also, I don't know why people are upset about the Eagles' loss, where the Vikings beat themselves. And frankly, there's a lot to take away that's positive. I understand there's no moral victories in the National Football League. And you are... So last year when the Vikings were 13-4, you are what your record says you are. Apparently that goes out the window. But now apparently it's back when the Vikings are 0-2. Who knew? Who knew? Apparently it's like a double standard to fit a narrative. Doesn't matter. But I don't know why a lot of y'all are upset today, because you thought that the Vikings were going to lose by 50, but the Vikings beat themselves. They had the champs on the ropes, the NFC champs, as it were, but is what it is. Anyways, we have 10 truths about your alleged 0-2 Minnesota Vikings, and not all is lost. I understand after any like minor inconvenience, people just want to be like, oh, you should tank. Ain't gonna happen, man. My stance on tanking is very clear. As long as you're mathematically alive for the playoffs, I would prefer that my team wins games. I know that it's crazy, right? But hey, if this team starts out 0-9, I will be the leader of the Caleb Williams parade. I truly will be. But anything can happen if you get yourself in the dance. A hot team can cover up a lot of stink, man. And Kirk Cousins, the way that he's playing right now, woo. That's right. All right, so 10 truths. Tell the truth Friday. Number 1, the 2023 team is better than 2022. Now, did the Vikings run hot in single-score games last year? Yes, 11-0 in the regular season, 0-2 now in the regular season of 2023. But just structurally, this team is much better than last year. And even though there's a ton of injuries along the offensive line, I think that schematically they're better than last season, especially along the interior, which is kind of crazy since Bradbury is out. But also the offense is more potent in the passing game. Kirk Cousins is dealing. Justin Jefferson remains him. Addison is a huge upgrade over Thielen as wide receiver 2. You have Hockenson, who, remember, Hockenson was acquired at the trade deadline. So this was his first offseason in purple. He's worth every single penny. Defensively, they can actually get stops. Not against the run, but everything else. They're aggressive. They can get sacks. They can end drives. They can get turnovers. That's exactly what's happening right now. So just honestly, if you don't feel, again, you are what your record says you are. But honestly, if you don't feel like the 0-2 2023 Vikings is better than last year, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Next up, number 2. -6 in turnovers, but only -9 in points. So the Vikings have turned it over 7 times. They got 1 back. Jalen Hurts, we thank you. But the Vikings are -6 in turnovers, and when that happens over 2 games, you're not going to win. But also, Kevin O'Connell brought this up. They've only lost both games by 9 points, where they've completely just shat themselves in terms of turnover differential. 3 in Tampa Bay, -3 versus the Eagles. So it's a spot where the Vikings are just really having self-inflicted wounds, where one of the turnovers against Tampa, when the Vikings were in scoring position, one of them against Philly, of course, was Jefferson right at the pylon. So you have a 10-point swing where you take a touchdown off the board in what ends up being a 6-point game. I wonder if that mattered or not. Who knows? Who knows? But again, the Vikings need a little bit of puck luck right now. But to say that this is a bad team, I think that's misinformed. I think it really is. Next up, number 3. Kirk is playing at an MVP level. Now, to all the haters and the losers, last night was not on Kirk. Week 1 was not on Kirk, although that halftime interception was pretty bad. But Kirk right now is completing 72.7% of his passes. He has 708 yards passing. He's on pace for like 6,100 yards passing, which would be a record. 6 touchdowns, 1 pick, and a 114.2 quarterback rating. So he is really getting – actually, that's incorrect. It's like 128. Anyway, he's doing – wait, no. He had a 128 against the Eagles. It's late. But, yeah, Kirk is freaking dealing, man. And the fact that he's doing it with absolutely zero running game and very minimal protection. You're on your 3rd string left tackle. You're on a backup center, and both your guards suck. But other than that, I mean, they're really, really good. So I think Kirk is really taking it to the next level. And if and when the Vikings do right this ship and get after it, I think that he will be in MVP contention. Now, I understand. Hey, let's just tank so we have good quarterback play. You got good quarterback play right now, man. Kirk Cousins is dealing. Not yet. There you go. Next up, number 4. It's JJ and Addison. So I got love for my guy, KJ. He has not made the most of his opportunities. He's had several drops already. One, a really horrifically bad one in the middle of the field against Philly. But Addison has shown that he is the guy, and he's ready. I mean, JJ proved that he is him. 20 catches for 309 yards receiving already. Very easily on pace for JJ 2K. Addison, 7 catches for $133, and has had a touchdown each of the first 2 games. I think they are the dynamic duo going forward. And also you got Hawkinson just patrolling the middle. I mean, that's your triumvirate. JJ, Addison, and TJ is going to be your alkaline trio of pass-catching options moving forward. Next up, number 5. The run game is pathetic. And Madison's an easy scapegoat. He is, but the offensive line is doing him no favors. And it's a lot like Dalvin last year, where both things can be true at once. Dalvin, yes, he ran for 1,000 yards, but he also had a career-low 4.4 yards per carry. Dalvin had lost a step, as evidenced by his performance on Monday night, where he averaged like 2 inches a carry. And then, that's what she said. And also, it can be true that the offensive line did him no favors last year and is doing Madison no favors this year. Madison only had 62 yards rushing on 19 carries, 3.3 yards per carry. And it's been inefficient. It's been hodgepodge. And also, Ty Chandler hasn't fared much better. So it's really been rough. And not being able to run the ball puts a lot of strain on the offensive line, as well as a lot of strain on Kirk Cousins. Really takes away the legitimacy of play action. So that's something that they have to get fixed. And Kevin O'Connell addressed that in his post-game press conference comments. Number 6, both trenches need help. So the offensive line, it's like a gong show, man. Like I almost think it's a social experiment to show how many guys that the Vikings have to lose to injury and still not sign Dalton Reisner or Jason Peters, who signed with the Seahawks. But so Oli Udoh's injury looks really bad. Darisaw retweaked his ankle injury in pregame warmups. That's why he was. That's why he didn't go in, but also he took up a spot on the active game day roster. David Quisenberry is in at left tackle, so you're in your third-string left tackle. Schlutman is in at center for Bradbury. I think his back injury is probably going to be an extended deal, just like it was last year, where it cost him 5 games. Ezra and Ed struggling, but defensive line, I mean, that was pathetic. It was absolutely pathetic, where, yes, the Eagles do have one of the best offensive lines in the game, but DeAndre Swift running for 173, where he had 133 yards before contact, that's ridiculous. Where 259 yards rushing to the Eagles, 5.4 yards per attempt, and you're just getting moved off the spot. And we said it over and over and over and over again. Harrison Phillips is not a nose tackle. You need to get a guy like Kairos Tonga in there more. You need to sign a guy like Linval Joseph, who just happens to be really good against the run. Still has a little something, as evidenced by his play for the Eagles last year. Lives in the Twin Cities and trains at TCO Performance Center, the side commercial gym. The name escapes me right now, but he trains there. So get his ass in. Kwesi, we need to get back to we have the meats. Vicmodium AD, stopping the runs, all that stuff. Next up, Truth, number 7. Flores' defense is different. Now, besides stopping the run, you can tell that the swagger is different. The coverages are different. The disguises, the stunts, the blitzes, everything. And they played really good coverage outside of the 2 Devonta busted plays, which, by the way, we said that would happen. Like, when you're singling guys up quite a bit, when you're taking chances, when you're gambling on blitzes, sometimes you will get burned. Like, sometimes when you gamble, you lose, right? And that's what happened in the 2 Devontae busted plays, where it got behind single coverage, and it is what it is. It's sort of like you live by the 3, you die by the 3. And I'm certainly okay living and dying by that. But Jalen Hurts was in jail for most of the game. The Vikings pass rush had him flustered. They got to him a number of times. Daniil Hunter had the hat trick of sacks. Also, he had that bad interception, and it just seemed like he never really got into a rhythm. Like Devontae Smith, deep shots aside, I mean, the Vikings did a damn good job against a guy who was in the MVP race last year and was probably the best quarterback in the NFC last year. So, on the road, by the way, and I think that that Flores deserves a lot of respect there. And also, again, against probably the best offensive line in the league. There we go. Next up, number 8. Danielle Hunter is Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Absolutely. So 15 tackles, 4 sacks so far through 2 games. And you see that Flores is moving him around, getting him in advantageous situations. And also when defenses are, the defense is bringing heat from various spots, and the offensive line, it takes them a half second extra to figure out who's coming in that. I mean, it frees up 99. And if you get Danielle Hunter in one-on-one spots, he will win. He will beat you. So extend Danielle, pay Danielle, do whatever, and I love it, man. I love seeing it. Number 9, Pace Jr. and Beasley are rising. So Pace Jr. is, the crown jewel of the Vikings UDFA class. 16 tackles, 11 solos so far, half a sack, as well as Flores is using him quite a bit on stunts, which you do love to see. And I think Pace Jr. is going to be a star very quickly in this league. And Cameron Beasley. So Cameron Bynum gets a lot of flack from fans. I don't know why. He didn't play great last year. He played okay in spurts as a rookie, but he's played lights out his first 2 games in the Flores defense. 25 tackles and 11 of them solo, and he's just done really, really well on the back end of that defense. Respect. Number 10. This is still a good football team. I understand that 0-2, you are what your record says you are, and right now the Vikings are technically on the clock for the number 1 overall pick, but this is still a damn good football team. And, looking at the schedule, Chargers game is going to be tough, but you got 10 days and you're at home and the Chargers are going to charge her. You're on the road against Carolina, where nothing is a given in this league, especially when you're on the road. The Chiefs at home, chance to shock the world, baby. Then you're at the Bears to open up the NFC North division schedule. Then hosting the Niners, at the Packers, at the Falcons, hosting the Saints. So, the schedule doesn't get easier, but it is what it is. And also, a lot of people point out that, the Vikings get out of the first 4 weeks, first month of the season at 2-2. They'll be good to go. It doesn't really matter in what order they get to 2-2, but you have to feel good about what this passing game can do. You have to feel good about what this defense is capable of, aside from stopping frickin' DeAndre Swift, other than that. But, parts of this team are there. And again, if they just stop turning over the stupid football, they won both these games easily. People don't want to hear it, but the Vikings beat themselves week 1. And if the Vikings didn't have all those unforced errors and didn't have the 10-point swing on both sides of halftime, the Vikings go into Philly and they win pretty damn easily. So that's how good of a football team this is right now. But it's okay. That's just the truth. People want to believe their own truths, but that is the actual legitimate truth. Anyways, that's it. Tell the Truth Friday. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.